What's up, everyone? Super excited to get this webinar kicked off. We've got kind of a star-studded lineup here, and I'm very excited. We'll wait for some folks to jump in. Yeah, Nancy, Ashley, Caitlin, Fran, Cody. Super excited to be able to hang out with everybody. I guess to get started, Nancy, you've got a fancy situation going on behind you, and I respect it. Thank you so much for making the time to do that. And in the environment, it just brings all the vibes.
I'm super excited to be here, and hopefully the background isn't too distracting for everyone.
No, it's not. It makes me kind of hungry. After this, I think we'll go and dip and get some lunch. But no, appreciate you making time and despite the circumstances behind you, you're awesome for doing that. But yeah, I say we get into it. We've got kind of a lot of stuff to jam on, and let's just go ahead and start doing some introductions. We'll start at the top with our gals from Caraway. Super excited to be able to have both Ashley and Nancy from Caraway home. If you don't have a Caraway pan or pot or any of their products in your home, I definitely suggest it. We're all huge fans over here at Corso. But yeah, Ashley, CX manager over at Caraway, and Nancy, the associate director of CX. So super excited to have you both. And then we have a couple of our partners who are also joining us, which we're super excited about. Caitlin Eckert over at the team at Gladly. And then I call her Fran, but Fran is one of my favorites over at ShipBob, and super excited to have them both with us. And then last but not least, my good friend and VP of operations over here at Corso, Cody Probst. The beard is healthy as ever and the locks are flowing. Ashley was giving you some flack for that prior, but very excited to have Cody on as well.
Listen, if we're talking about my hair, we got to talk about Nancy rocking the pink hair. I love it.
I'm down for the pink. Pink is punk, and I'm game for that.
Sorry.
I mean, listen, I did do the pink/purple for Flip. Sorry to name drop there, but you'll see some exciting LinkedIn updates there. But so excited to be here with you guys today. And Cody, the hair, you should take off the beanie more often. It's like working for you.
I think no one's even going to recognize from my LinkedIn because it's always rocking the old beanie. I have one ready, by the way, if things get wild. So we're prepared.
I love it.
I mean, between your Slack photo, your LinkedIn photo, and you in real life, it's like 3 different people.
She's not wrong, but we'll give Cody his flowers on the hair game. But yeah, I guess shifting gears from hair game to holiday prep. It's that time of year. Let's just be honest. We're prepping for, we call it the Super Bowl at Corso, but obviously in D2C, e-com, just retail in general, this is the season to make a huge impact. And the majority of volume for a lot of brands happens in 1 month, right? So it's a very, very significant time frame for everyone on this call and just in D2C in general. And so we're excited to kind of open up the conversation to get some last minute tips, some actionable CX and ops tactics, and just pick the brains of those who do it every single day, as well as some of the partners that we work with over here at Corso, to give you just some plays, some different things that you can leverage heading into the Super Bowl and be able to make an impact for your team as well as your customers. Kicking this off, we wanted to throw this out. I think holiday calendaring is super important. Things can happen if you're not mindful of these dates. And so as part of this, obviously with carriers, we wanted to make sure that we called this out. This is kind of the first point that we felt would be beneficial. Cody, I know you've had some background in the 3PL world. Any thoughts, any questions or anything you want to kind of surface on some of these calendaring dates and what would be beneficial for brands to remember?
Not really on my end. And this is pretty extensive. And yeah, I mean, just write them down if you don't have them.
I was going to say, screenshot this or hit us up after. We'll be able to circulate this deck around, but definitely screenshot this, put this in. your calendars to make sure that you catch these from the carrier perspective. And Nancy and Ashley, is there anything here? Yeah, Nancy's got her hand raised. What do you got?
For everyone watching, I'm super big on raising my hand, and I can't do that feature right now, so you'll see my hand go up a lot throughout this webinar. But I will say, when it comes to shipping cutoff deadline, the biggest thing in CX, always have a buffer. So even if FedEx, UPS, USPS is telling you that the 19th is like the cutoff date, my holy grail is always having a buffer. So I actually do it a few days before, and this year for Caraway, our cutoff is going to be the 16th, specifically because our products are a little heavier. So we just want to make sure nothing happens funky. Of course, internally, if someone's emailing in, we'll let them know on the 17th or 18th you can purchase. It's just not guaranteed. But what I have found as a leader over the past 10 years, always put in a buffer. Do not trust what the carriers are putting out.
It's very, very important to be mindful of that. Having worked in D2C for a little while, every Black Friday is kind of different in terms of carrier volume, the workload that's put onto to the carriers, and you'd be surprised just in terms of delays. Obviously, tracking information, saying it's going to get there, it's not, and so I think that cutoff, kind of adding a little bit of a buffer just in case, I think is always important. And then obviously having some talk tracks in place to communicate to customers if there is obviously some headache that comes around tracking not updating, packages not getting there on time. And so I think that's super, super valuable. But yeah, I think pivoting to kind of the next thing, we truly wanted to just open up the mic to Ashley and Nancy on the Caraway side. They've done us a solid by putting together a holiday checklist of different things that they've just some plays essentially internally and different things that you all are kind of working on from just making sure that folks are aligned through the different departments, right? You've got CX, ecom, ops, and transparently, we just want to hear kind of what you're doing on the Caraway side and explain some of these to us in terms of what you're doing from a holiday checklist perspective.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump in there to start. She had her hand raised. There's a little lag on my end, but I just want to start this checklist by saying in Caraway, CX has a very loud voice. So some of these things that are noted here are projects that we work on with other departments. I cannot take full responsibility. I have to humble myself. So there are things listed within operations and ecom that we are working with other teams on. But I'll pause and hand over the mic to Ashley. Since her hand was raised.
Totally echoing Nancy there. I think a lot of this is definitely a ton of cross collaboration. And I always kind of think of holiday as like you're either in holiday or you're preparing for holiday. So there's definitely a lot of prep that goes into it, a lot of cross collaboration. And so definitely a lot of confirming with across departments, right? So you'll kind of see this little checklist that we put together, really making sure that we're firm on what dates are we putting in, making sure that everything is confirmed. Something that we put in kind of this year, which I'm sure we'll kind of get to a bit more later, is kind of like our price match guarantee and like what our sales are going in. So that way we can tell our customers like, buy now. This is as good as it's going to get. This is what we have, so that not just our customers feel confident, but our agents feel confident with what they're saying to our customers, right? That makes such a difference in the interaction that our agents are having. A huge thing that Nancy really spearheaded and worked with is really capacity planning and making sure that we feel confident as a team and having the right number of agents, that we feel confident that we have contingency plans. This is the first year that we actually have 2 VPOs supporting us, which is actually perfect timing because we actually have Jonathan down here from the lovely VPO Springboard, which is a fantastic team. They have stay-at-home moms who actually go ahead and support our team. And this is our first Black Friday, or rather our first holiday season that we are diversifying our team. and they're supporting us this holiday season. We have that. A huge thing that we did as a company is really reflecting on last year and what improvement. So also voicing what were the pain points from the last, holiday season. What were our customers frustrated with? What are some quick, easy wins that we can do, whether it's on the site? What is the messaging, right? What are the things that we can learn? What are some pain points that we can address really easily and alleviate from our customers? What are the things that we can easily say, okay, what are things that we know that our customers want and need? And just make it a seamless and continue to make it just like a really happy time of year and just really kind of make those wins go. I think we've definitely had a ton of changes and adjustments this year in preparation for the holiday, whether that comes to queue management, automations and roles, and just trying to figure out like what works for us. And just figuring out what ways can we really optimize the experience for our team and in turn our customers. What are ways that we can help them faster? What are ways that we can ensure that we are helping them out with the quality that they've come to know and expect from Caraway? And so it's just been really, really fun and exciting. And these are just, just a few kind of items on our checklist that we've done to really help us get ready for this time of year. And honestly, we're already in holiday. So definitely seeing a lot of this already come into play, and we've really hit the ground running. So it's been really, really exciting.
I've got a couple questions for Nancy. You talk about forecasting, right? And being able to add additional CX help. That's something that's interesting to me. And what goes into making that decision, right? How do you forecast for it? How do you know how many agents to get? And I know it's not perfect. Same thing with like inventory forecasting, I would say. But what goes into making that decision? And then a question for you on like the metrics that Caraway kind of tracks, right? Is it response time? Is it ticket? Like how quickly you're able to close a ticket? Talk me through a little bit of what you monitor on that side.
I think the biggest thing with metrics that we always forget about in leadership is one metric does not tell the full story. So on Caraway's end, on my end, it's not one metric I'm looking at. I'm looking at the full story. So I'm looking at the CSAT, the NPS, the response time, the quality of the email. All of that paints a picture, and it's not going to be one size fits all for all agents. So I want to definitely say that's one thing that Caraway and me and Ashley focus on very heavily is going to be making sure we see the full picture before we make any action. And when it comes to forecasting, anyone on this call, you guys might not know this, but I do a lot of Nancy math. So my brain is a huge map of a lot of considerations. I will sit down with multiple legal pads and just kind of like scribble out. I go into Google Docs, I play around with formulas. But this year, Caraway actually onboarded Actionable, which actually does all the forecasting for us. Been doing a lot of AI exploration, and they go in and look at our volume, and we input our KPIs, and it will actually tell us their recommended agent count per hour per day, which has definitely taken away a lot of stress for that forecasting and made sure that we are set in stone with bodies this year, along with automation.
That's huge. Yeah, it looks like in the chat, Assembled. Good plug. That's crazy. That sounds like a killer platform. Nancy math. I think I have Paul math sometimes too, so I get that. I respect that. No, that's super, super helpful. And I think, obviously not one metric telling, being definitive and being able to expand and look at kind of the story behind it. I think that's super key. Fran, I'm going to put you on the spot. We've got this ops kind of channel here in this vertical and really looking on the ship ops side, any nuggets from like an operational perspective for those watching on the logistics side, on the ops side, what are some things that you kind of look at and communicate from the ship ops side for logistics?
I think teams can never prepare too early. And sometimes when people want to make changes, especially in fulfillment or adding technology or anything that just adds to the complexity of a customer experience, maybe post-purchase, it takes time. So we're kind of in the thick of it. So you have to be realistic now of what actually you're going to enable and what's actually doable, and maybe just for now not getting everything done maybe that you wanted to, and just keeping it really basic and specific and just dialing in on customer experience. There's still things to be done in this timeline to maybe enhance the customer experience. But Nancy talked about like forecasting, and I think that you could still forecast based on the data that you do now. Because like you said, Paul, every Black Friday, Cyber Monday has been really different. Every holiday season has been really different. And I know last year people were caught off guard with those Prime Day sales that were in October. This year they were prepared. So there's always things that are going to happen. I think that people can just forecast, use data that their WMS provides for them, or have their 3PL pull that data for them, just to keep tabs on if they have enough inventory, do they need to get more things in, and just keep a dial on what's going on. But just using the technology that you have at your fingertips, and hopefully you have a connected tech stack. If not, connect with the people here and we can recommend probably a couple different solutions for next season. But really your tech stack should give you all the data you need and all the information to keep customers up to base, or keep them on task with what's going on. You guys have a great tracking solution. That's a great thing to implement to keep brands or keep customers up to date on their order, as well as reducing the Wismo order, which probably Nancy's team is tired of getting. So you can set a lot of automations with a lot of different integrations. And some stuff is still doable, but I think now it's just making sure that you communicate stuff to your customers and just keeping on top of the data and just keeping on top of your tracking as well. Again, your technology should be able to tell you if there's any issues with orders. There's advanced technology to add as well that can look at carrier specific efficiency as well as how they're doing and kind of figure out there's a root issue. But just keep on track and just keep aware of what's going on, because things are going to come up. And the faster you can get things resolved and stay in communication with the people you work with, because it's not just one team, it's many teams working together, whether it's a tech integration, it's logistics, the people actually on the ground. So just kind of preparing right now. And I know I have more notes in the next section, but there's a lot of stuff to be done to just improve customer experience during the holiday season. You can do custom insert, custom packaging. Again, this stuff might not be doable to get done for Black Friday. Maybe you can do it with Christmas coming up. Just see the deadlines with packaging producers as well as the warehouses you work with. But right now, I would say just keep on top of things and communicate with your customers. But happy to chat through other details as well. But like a lot of stuff right now is just not going to be easy to implement. And I think it's just about like what Nancy's team is doing is being proactive about before issues come up and kind of just being proactive versus adding another thing to your plate.
I think simplicity now and just making sure that the systems you have in place can scale, and obviously just making sure that you're prepared for whatever's coming around the corner, right? The unexpected. Nancy's got her hand raised, and so we're going to go ahead and pass the mic over to her. But yeah, I wanted to get into tech stack. That was something that Fran really called out. And yeah, Nancy, go ahead with what you got.
Actually, just going to double tap on what Fran said. It is Q4. There might not be a lot that you can do with problems that arise, but what you can do is note it all. And in the new quarter next year, actually communicate with your tech partners, with your platform partners, tell them the issues you face and give them a chance to help you find those fixes or even create those fixes. I know we have something in the next few slides about working with your tech partners, which I think is a great leeway. But definitely keeping that communication not just with your customers, but with your partners. So it is a continuous loop of enhancements that you can make for the customer.
Yeah, and I think to piggyback on that, we put together, Nancy and Ashley put together kind of some thought process in place, some different things that you're using today from your tech stack on the Gladly side, right? Caitlin, we've been kind of, she's been on mute here for a minute, but ultimately, prior to this webinar, just getting some feedback on the tech stack and the different things that Caraway is leveraging today to really streamline that process, make sure that customers are taken care of quickly and just delighting them. So Ashley and Nancy, I'd love to get some thoughts on this from the tech stack perspective and how you're leveraging some of these systems that you shared with us.
it's been amazing. I think anytime that we're able to go ahead and leverage something that our agents don't have to leave gladly for is always a huge win. I think especially with our Corso integration, for example, which obviously we see a lovely kind of demo here. It's always so easy to go ahead and do it. It's so great because we can see the full kind of conversation flow of what's going on. We don't need to go ahead and leave to see, well, what's the status? What was the conversation flow going? Especially, again, holiday time, we see a bunch of, what's going on with my order. We know that there's, unfortunately, right, like there is stuff that goes on, right? Or a package is, stuck, or if it's damaged in transit, right? There's so many instances that go on. And a lot of times in the past, there were situations where, okay, now, our agents would have to go ahead and take 10 minutes to go to a different portal and investigate. And this is now, such a longer handle time that an agent would have to do. And so being able to leverage this easy integration, our agents are like, this is something that we can leverage super quickly. We're able to go ahead and already, use our conversation view. We're just using the sidebar. It just makes the whole experience so much easier, not just for the customer, but for the agent, which is always a huge win. I think that's one thing too that we really kind of want to highlight more is during holiday season. Yeah, we want to have an excellent customer experience, but also we want to have an excellent agent experience, right? We don't want our agents to be burned out. We don't want our agents to have really overcomplicated instructions and workflows that they need to do. If there are ways that we can optimize and create more efficient workflows, amazing. And to be able to have Gladly and Corso, right, two of our partners, to be able to work together, especially like in this example, right, to have them to be able to work together and allow us to do this. I mean, this is a huge win for us. And to have this in time for holiday just really was a double whammy for us. So this was a goodie.
We love it. Yeah. I think the depth and on the integration on the Gladly side, it's very slick, and we love that you leverage it, and ultimately it's a big time saver for you. No, we love it. We love the feedback. Nancy, hand raise.
I don't want to say that Corso made the Gladly integration for us. It just so happened it came out the week that we signed with you guys. But what was something that we plugged into you guys communication-wise that we wanted an omnichannel experience with was actually Bridge, which you can see on the left side over here. Caraway on our end wanted to amp up our review collection. So naturally, we did chat with Kate from Bridge. Anybody watching today, if you don't know her, she is wonderful, has a lot of great tech. And we actually connected her with Corso, and I had one meeting with you guys, and after a week, you guys built out an entire integration so that when customers are using our Bridge experience, they can also use their Corso experience. Bringing that entire omnichannel experience together for them and us was a huge game changer, and it's exactly what you did with the Gladly integration. So really loved that you guys are partners that listen to your customers, that act on requests, and also are always open to continually enhancing the features that you offer.
Well, we appreciate that. Shout out Tanner McAllister on the Corso team. He definitely helped with that. But I think on the Bridge perspective, just being able to help customers register their product, file a warranty claim, or get help directly from the platform, have it flow into Gladly, has been super valuable. So we appreciate that, and we're trying. So, but yeah, I think, man, time's fine. I want to get over to more of the ops side. I want to open up the mic to both Fran and Caitlin. They've got some great things that they've kind of put together for some last minute tricks and tips, if you will. But Fran, I'll go ahead and we'll move over to your slides and open it up. I'd definitely love to get some feedback on kind of, you've explained and touched on a couple of different things, but just some additional color on what you're thinking on the ops side and anything that our listeners can.
I feel like Nancy just outlined a great customer experience with Bridge. That's just like one of the many ways you can market omnichannel. Something I didn't put on here that kind of relates to what she's talking about is putting marketing inserts into packages to drive customers back to your website if you're omnichannel. Kind of similar to what Bridge is doing. You can have Bridge as the QR code as well, so they have that experience. So just a really cool customization experience, especially since I've noticed that a lot of customers are shopping in different places, especially when it comes to like shipping and like when things are going to be delivered, especially if someone's going on a trip. Like I am the person that will order from like a big retailer because the shipping's faster. I honestly think they shipped it out of the same facility. I just don't know why it was faster. But a ton of people are just buying pick up same day in Target, Careways in different platforms as well. And so driving it back to the website where you can kind of control the customer experience is crucial. And they just outlined that they're doing that right now, which is amazing. But we have people doing custom packaging, custom gift notes, custom inserts. And so if you are physically fulfilling, or your 3PL is fulfilling the omnichannel orders, you can kind of hack it because you're fulfilling Target.com, Ulta.com orders, but they don't actually have your inventory. So kind of a cool hack and something to think about again. Like you could still maybe get packaging in if it's very simple, maybe it's an insert, but something to think about next year or even into the future as people continue to shop omnichannel. That's just something that's come up so much. And I think that we really saw it with TikTok Shop as well, taking off, where so many people are just shopping on so many different social channels and with people that they trust, or it's very convenience based. So just meeting your customers where you are. But again, that might be something that you think about long term as a marketing strategy. But some other tips and tricks, we kind of talked about getting ahead with inventory. And again, like keeping on top of the data, just factor in the warehouse processing times because they could be delayed. They're really focused on outbound orders during that time. So you want to just make sure that you're understanding if you need inventory to be processed. Are they even taking inventory in Q4? And then what's the processing time for that? And with that as well, for the deadlines, there might be processing delays during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I think like we might have an extension as well, just during like the maybe I think it's like the 2 days, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and just communicating that to your customer, especially if your fulfillment center is delayed or you see that orders are on hold. You can communicate this in many different ways to your customers, but also not just when it happens, but before it happens, and just making sure the website has the information. And the team at Careway had just talked about it earlier with the dates, the cutoff dates. Can you have estimated delivery dates at checkout? Can you have multiple expedited shipping options? And just displaying it to the customer, because I think that as long as they have options and they're educated on what's going to happen, less issues will rise. Of course, issues are going to rise that you're just not going to be able to foresee, but just communicating on the fulfillment aspect, what is going on, and being transparent. I think that customers really appreciate that. Also, Ashley, you want to jump in there?
I think Ashley's she's working
I
on
know,
the
I was
unmute.
waiting. Oh, there she. No,
Is
I
that
think she
working
got it.
for her?
Yeah, sorry, I press it and then it doesn't go. No, I'm just super quick. I was just going to totally agree with you. I think when people think of like an exceptional customer experience, that means that everything went perfectly, right? And that's not necessarily what that means. It means that we set the appropriate expectations, and maybe if something happens, that means that we do our best to be as proactive, or in the event that we need to be reactive, we do our best to go ahead and take accountability. And sometimes that means that we need to do an appeasement, right? And that means that we show humility and we remind the customer that we value them and we want to meet them where they're at. And we need to do that, right? We need to be transparent, and we try to go ahead and we might occasionally offer them something, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean a refund or a discount or that we throw money at them. I think that a lot of times, sometimes, when something happens, a lot of brands will just throw money at a customer and not necessarily acknowledge what happened or really address the customer at all. And that's not really what a customer wants, right? They're not just a number, or they're not just a dollar. And I think that is like often a very missing piece that a lot of brands forget about. And I think especially when it comes to holiday, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And that's definitely something that I think we forget about and is often something that is just like an oversight. But that was it. I'm so sorry to interrupt you,
No, I
Fran.
think
I didn't
that's
expect that.
no, that was awesome. I think just from the perspective, like piggybacking on Fran and what Ashley said, obviously we want to try to mitigate anything that could go wrong prior to it actually happening. And I think, communicating on your post-purchase, maybe in your emails and your email flow, saying, hey, this is what to expect, right? And then if something does go wrong, as Ashley kind of alluded to, just going above and beyond to make sure that that customer feels heard, they feel the love from the brand, because that will really determine, do they come back? And I know Cody's got some thoughts on some of that. But Fran, I think that's super valuable. Appreciate the input and the feedback for sure.
I'll add one more thought.
Go for it.
Because the last point, and it kind of goes in with what Ashley's saying about customer experience in the holiday, it's really heightened. People are buying gifts for people. People are spending money on things that maybe they've looked at all year, especially Caraway does special colorways. Someone might have their heart set on a special colorway. People do drops and things like that. And so I think that as long as you can communicate, it's going to be a great experience, because they're really looking forward to this product, especially international customers. We've seen a rise in international customers shopping Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So just remember those customers as well, and just set expectations for, are they going to pay duties and taxes after the fact? Do they pay at checkout? Do you want to have that at checkout? Estimation on delivery times, because it's a little bit delayed, and just maybe having an extra email touch to communicate with them if you can't do duties paid at checkout, just because we've seen a rise in a lot of Australian, UK customers shopping Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals. Most of the time, they're buying something over the threshold, or they're buying a lot at one time because the shipping is so expensive. So just remembering that they have a different customer experience. But again, like the products that people are buying, they've probably been eyeing, looking at, waiting for a deal, or just waiting for a time to kind of splurge on themselves. So just kind of bringing it back to the customer experience of, again, just communication and setting expectations, and having extra touches with maybe customers like that are international, that their experience is a little bit different. But excited because it's the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales have been growing. And I think it's just something people look forward to all the time. So it's almost like an expectation now, like, that people are going to shop these sales, just prepare for them.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel like Black Friday now has bled into the entire month. And brands are just really, try to expand their offering, getting ads kind of ramped up rather than, deploying all of your ad spend on one day, really breaking that up. And so I think for sure, it's definitely, we're seeing that landscape shift quite a bit, and preparing for it as much as you can is valuable. Nancy, you raise your hand. Do you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. I had to piggyback off of both Fran and Ashley, and just to really remind everyone watching today, a good customer experience isn't always just a positive one. It is making sure everything is set up. So Fran was saying touch point. One touch point that we are literally implementing this week to help with customers are sale shipment. We have a great tool that can actually identify when something gets lost in transit. Traditionally, like, a lot of brands, maybe I'm speaking because you didn't have the tech before, you only find out when customers complain about it. And that's not the positive customer journey. If we can reach them before they can complain about it with a proactive reach out and not a reactive reach out, that can also shape a positive customer journey and make sure they're seen through their entire experience, versus making sure that it's always just positive, positive, positive. Because anybody in CX knows a majority of what we deal with is not positive. It's just how we resolve it for the customer.
No, I think that's that's amazing color. And I think it's fantastic. I think kind of segueing into Caitlin. Caitlin, we're teeing it up for Caitlin. I feel like we've been talking a lot, and super excited to hear kind of Caitlin's tips, kind of segueing into the CX side of the house, from the platform perspective with Gladly and some of the different areas of focus. But I think that will definitely support kind of what Nancy's alluding to, being able to meet customers where they are, being able to try to communicate as well as you can. And so Caitlin, without further ado, I'd love to pass the mic over.
Perfect. Thank you. And yeah, everyone, for the customer experience that we've been talking about, I love that you're able to show the single lifelong conversation that we have at Gladly, and how it's able to, with these integrations, especially able to give like the context and visibility for all the agents to have those great conversations and proactively look and be able to respond to customers. So there's nothing lost in translation. Gladly, we're focused around the customer, not built around tickets. So you have that historical context going into it. At Gladly, with our customers, we like to look at 3 areas of focus to get holiday ready. So I thought I would share them with this group here. And Nancy and Ashley, you are probably well versed in this. But at Gladly, we like to break it up into prepare, configure, and self-serve. We always like to say that the best time to prep for holiday was probably by the end of October, but if you can't do that by then, it's now. So like, let's get into some of the wins that you can do right now. So in the prepare bucket, we like to say training refresh. We know that we have folks that hire on seasonal hires for this. We want to make sure that your agents, or how we call them, our heroes, are up to date with the best holiday practices and resources. So that means like practicing transfers, those reassignments, getting familiar with topics, having a topic glossary available to your agents, whether they're seasoned folks on your team or they're new, and then making sure that these holiday answers and resources are easy to find. As new hires, we've all been new hires in our respective roles. And likes to say, I don't know how to do something. I don't know where to find something. So make it accessible, make it easy to find. Another part of this, and Nancy, you touched on this earlier, was assigning key duties. Be ready for the issues that arise. Holidays are a crazy time. The best way to be prepared is to know who to go to. So create responsibilities for critical functions. Have someone assigned for who's monitoring your live boards or your reporting. Who's going to be your go-to for any integration issues that might arise or any website things that might pop up that are unforecasted. You have your point person to go to. We know that help center and self-service is especially important during holiday time. So like, who's managing the help center rearrangement? Who's looking at those answers? And I think it's important to remember to always review your settings for your admins. Make sure that access is available. Make sure those passwords aren't going to do like a change password setting in the middle, like your 30 days are up. Have that already done in advance, and don't get stuck in a lurch. And then also take advantage of resources for refreshing if you have it in your internal systems. At Gladly, selfish plug here, we have the Gladly Connect community, and we have support hero, manager, and certificate programs available through our learning centers that are like our gold standard for training any net new agents that might come on board or just acting as a refresh. I know that a lot of folks on here might not be Gladly customers, but fear not. There's also, if you would like to take advantage of the courses there's courses on phone chat communication, conflict resolution, how to de-escalate charged conversations, and it's all free. So it's all there at Gladly Connect community. And then our second bucket is configure. And this is really just looking at your different channels, right? So for our inboxes, we want to make sure that the right contacts are going to the right folks. Some easy wins for your inboxes is to look and audit your auto replies and just make sure that they include alternate channels like chat or SMS, and make sure that they have clickable hyperlinks. You'd be surprised at just how much that alleviates your email inbox by just having alternate channels that naturally move faster. And also utilize proactive email. Send bulk emails bulk messages to your customers about any shipping delay, carrier changes, delivery status. Fran talked about it. Be proactive in these communications, and it can save you those hard conversations. And instead, you're being a partner to your customers instead of having to have your agents be on like the not so fun side of the conversation. You get to have them have a win. And for our rules and routing, just automate messages based on those holiday scenarios. Again, if you can do this in advance, great. If not, quickly go and do a rules audit specifically for spam and reassignment issues, like looking at an example, like making sure emails don't get stuck with an agent if they're offline, making sure that you have those rules and routing set up. And again, adding hyperlinks to those email auto replies or agent signatures that direct customers to important FAQ documents or web pages, because that can just help them self-serve if they're not getting what they need fast enough. Chat, again, alternate channels is always going to be a win here. And it's like a fun tip, consider shortening your auto end, or not auto close, but your auto end time for messaging. It kind of gives your team a more throughput for allowing them to wait less for customers to reply back before their messages are routed. So it gives them just a little bit more time. And then, of course, your phones. We can't forget about phones, even though I feel like nowadays most people are coming in via chat. We always have our phone folks. So just make sure that your holiday hours are accurate if they're different from your regular business hours. Update your recordings to mention high call volume so people have context for why it's taking so long. I feel like people do enjoy having that context. And again, give them an alternate channel to communicate with you if you need them to come through. Then last is our self-service. I think this is personally where I live during the holiday season, is I try to always self-serve, call that the millennial in me. I try not to call in as much as possible or chat in. But having your help center, make sure that your content is clear, concise, and quickly consumable. Small things like reordering your articles based on the past demand for holidays, have those up at the top. This is very simple. Refreshing your FAQ language for quick consumption. If there's infographics that make it so it's easier to understand a topic you're communicating. And also internal feedback loops for your own live updates for your team. Have those kind of figured out, or a quick win idea. Nancy, I see you nodding, so I'm hoping you're vibing with what I'm throwing down. And then kind of a newer one is, or not newer one, but at Gladly we say review your public answers. Public answers in Gladly are knowledge articles that customers can use to find answers without contacting an agent, and they're displayed in our Glad app, on our help center, or any page on the website that you want to choose. And they also are the foundation for utilizing our conversational AI, which you can see our little squiggly is pointing to the right as an example. And so it's very important for public answers and anyone who's your knowledge base to be up to date, to ensure that features like your AI can have these conversations and live within your own guardrails. And again, articles or ideas for topics for holiday are in-store pickup, anticipated delays that we've talked about quite ad nauseum at this point, sales promotions, product availability. And then I always say, always remember mobile. And what I mean by that is develop mobile-friendly documentation ahead of spikes in holiday usage. I think I read this year or last year, it could be. Time is, a construct. To Shopify, holiday uptick in mobile transactions outpaces desktop by a factor of 2 to 1. So you got to make sure that you're optimizing your support resources for mobile to help those shoppers who we know are shopping on their phone, like TikTok Shop, as Fran was saying, to help them self-serve when they get into those lurches. And those are my tips.
I love it. That's solid. Kaylin, Nancy, go ahead. What did you want to add on there?
No, I was just going to say, Caitlin, totally hit the nail on the head. Always make sure whatever experience you're setting up not only looks good on your webpage, but mobile. I think I read an article, don't quote me because it was probably at 2 a.m., that about 90% of shoppers are mobile shoppers. So making sure that viewpoint is working well is a huge holiday win.
I'm laughing because we've covered delays in shipments now on every single touch point. So I think the overarching thing too that I want to add is there's going to be delays. People are going to be frustrated. Be proactive. And I think I love the fact that just documentation, being able to put that all on just making it available for customers. I think the less stress we can put on the CX team and the more that we can serve up to the customers so that they can actually go and educate themselves. That can be starting on the PDP side too, right? I mean, go from PDP on anything from a documentation standpoint, both for your internal team, you've got new CX reps that you're onboarding or just seasonal reps. Being able to inform them as much as possible is super key, and as well as your customers. The more info you can, the more documented you can be, the better experience. But piggybacking on delayed orders, I want to pass the mic to Cody. Last but not least, you're kind of our headliner here, but I'm super excited to talk about this. Cody's on the front lines at Corso, essentially dealing with all of these delays that we've been talking about from a customer standpoint, and his main role is to essentially build out all of the experiences and so forth at Corso to help on negative experiences. I think just Cody teeing it up, bad things are going to happen. It's Black Friday. It's chaos. It's crazy. Talk to us a little bit about kind of your thought process with that.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about screwing up because there's going to be a lot of mistakes. Kind of run through this really quick because I know we're about at time here, so kind of jump through. But I was going to start with telling a little story that I had actually. So we had just moved to a newly built house. It's newly created address, and so I don't have a doorbell cam or anything like that yet. And I'm literally watching out the window, waiting for my wife's Christmas present, a weighted blanket from Brooklinen. Shout out to Brooklinen. I get the delivered notification without seeing the FedEx truck ever. I'm like, oh gosh, dude. So I literally jump in my car and I'm driving around the neighborhood frantically, looking for this freaking white van, trying to get a hold of the driver, calling FedEx. and like this dude is nowhere. So the carrier puts me on hold, gives me the runaround, and it's just like a lost cause. And so I'm forced to turn to the brand. And this was a few years ago, and I know nothing about Brooklinen at the time. And there's like no shipping protection offered for me on the site. I had zero evidence that I didn't receive this. So I'm just like, I am completely at the mercy of this random company's policies that just happened to show me an ad that I clicked on, and at the mercy of the CS person that I happen to get when I email in, right? So I email them with kindness, but I'm like ready, like puffed up, like ready to fight, like you do, like you're like, I got to make this right. And they were just so gracious. It got me taken care of immediately, expedited the shipping because I was leaving that weekend for Christmas, and even gave me a discount code. So like that little interaction, it wasn't their fault, obviously. And I'm here like 4 years later talking about it on a webinar in front of these people. So it's just like those little interactions are going to give you, or those when you make mistakes, like making it right for the customer, it's going to give you so much more brand equity than honestly a lot of other things that your brand could ever do. Nancy was telling a story. I can sum it up, but you can add some tea to it if you want, or add some context. But like about going to Best Buy. I mean, like Nancy's not exactly like a tech savant, I wouldn't say, but like she's so passionate about Best Buy now because they lost her husband's lost her, or no, sorry, whoa, husband. Her boyfriend's
I was gonna say, Cody.
I'm killing it. Go ahead. Go ahead and tell us. Tell us. I'm sorry.
In true fashion, I waited to the last minute, literally 2 days before Christmas, to buy a TV for a Christmas gift for my boyfriend at the time. And it told me 1 day shipping, and I was like, great, that means I'm getting this on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve came around, no tracking, nothing, wasn't anywhere to be found. As soon as I called them up on the phone, which I know it's so funny, I hate phone service, but I was like, I have to go the quickest way. Called them, they knew who I was, what my order was, what my issue was, gave me a partial refund, and then had their closest store like hand deliver a TV to me. It was totally my fault for everything that happened, but they made sure that I was a happy customer at the end of the day, and someone so big like Best Buy cared about little old me. I will recommend them to everyone. And the Geek Squad, come on.
I love it. I think one thing that's fascinating too about both of these stories is on Cody's story, you think about that's a first time purchase. He saw the ad, he clicked it, and if something goes wrong, especially on that first purchase, the likelihood of them coming back, if they're not made whole or happy, A, they're not coming back, B, they probably are going to take to the UGC that no one talks about is on the negative side, right? And I think that's what's unique about this experience. And then to Nancy's point, just a customer for life, right? When you think now, whenever you're in market for something electronic, that really strong positive experience is going to resonate. And when you're in market, right, what's the first thought you have is that TV, you think TV, you think about that story, you think about Best Buy. So Cody, I think embracing the mistakes.
Yeah, and the fact that Nancy, obviously, like, that she's waxing poetic about where she's getting her HDMI cables, like, it just like shows how much of a difference it can make. And my wife loves the blanket, by the way, uses it every night still. And I'm sure whatever random neighbor got a nice little Christmas miracle on their porch loves the blanket too. So. But just like as everybody is bolstering your CS resources through holidays, like with chatbots, seasonal employees, whatever it may be, like the warehouse, everything that touches your business is obviously doing that as well. So like the warehouse has temps or seasonal workers, carriers are like understaffed and overworked, customers are sending things to different addresses and buying a lot of things. So like it's just ripe for mistakes, and a lot more mistakes are gonna happen. And as consumers, they're not gonna care why something went wrong, even if it was their fault. Like if you're Nancy Gerd over here and demanding you take care of the problems that she created, like it's still, they want it to be taken care of. And sometimes those customers like will be understanding and appreciative. And sometimes they're going to come hot and ready, and like their goal is the same. They're thinking like, I need to do what I can to make this right. And as a brand, it's you need to immediately take their guard down when that happens. And you need that real personable response to say like, I'm sorry that happened and let's make it right. And Like whatever my advice is like whatever limit you can push that still makes economical sense, you should be pushing that limit and expediting orders for parties or events if it makes sense, or throwing in a coupon or a little note, anything like that. And like when something goes wrong and they don't want like a pending status or even like automated resolution. They want like compassion and like a real human connection to acknowledge that there was an issue, right? And that's like at Corso, every ticket we get is an elevated issue. Like nobody is reaching out to us because something went right. Like they're only coming when they've had an issue. And that's where we're kind of like unique in that we have our in-house US-based agents responding to every ticket, making sure that we do what we can to get these people taken care of and like make them feel seen, which is the bigger point. And when you have like shipping protection, it's easier because the funds are there to offer that level of service without the same financial hit. And with a rev share back to the brand, there's plenty left over for the 30 to 40% of customers that don't opt for protection. And so we recommend all our brands give this same level of service, like for unprotected orders, saying like, it looks like you didn't add protection. Make sure you do going forward so you're covered when these things happen, but I'm going to go ahead and get you taken care of this time. So it's again, it just gives you that opportunity to make the customer feel like you care and make them feel special. The last little bonus tip would be also trying to consolidate your resolution flow for the customer as much as possible. Can I share really quick just for 2 seconds? Sorry. So this is going to be my little shameless Corso plugger real quick.
While he's pulling that up, I got to ask Nancy and Ashley just in terms of kind of that relationship on the CX side with Corso. I mean, I know you're jamming with Cody and Molly every day from our perspective, but just how that interaction has been, and as Cody pulls it up. Or you
I mean, you
have
guys
it?
are like my best friends. Yeah, we have Cody up here, but I will say Corso relationship with Fairway, you guys are phenomenal.
Yeah, we're pretty obsessed.
No, you're good. Sorry, I couldn't see you for a second, and I think it was delayed. But just Carl's Surf Shop glow up really quick. Like right now, as much as you can consolidate this, like you have track your order here, U.S. returns here, international here. Like this is a common thing we see all the time. Like shipping issues. If you have shipping protection here, if you don't here, warranties, email us, registration, click here. Anything else, contact us. Like so, we have like a super seamless experience where you can like put all of that in our order dashboard, right? So it's embedded on your page. It's really cool that you can go through like report a shipping issue or start a return or warranty request there. You can see all your cool tracking information here, see what's in your order, like all the fun stuff, and reach out if there's any issues. You have your FAQs below this or like your best sellers. So as much as, again, like not this solution necessarily, but like whatever you can do to kind of like consolidate all of those things for the customers and then do any kind of like flows on the back end if you have to, like it's so much easier for the customer to not have to like figure out, okay, the 30 different places for me to go here. What am I doing? So that's all. Thank you.
That was I love the plug. No, I think it was good. I think just streamlining it is massive as a consumer. Again, when things are escalated, you're mad. You just want to get resolution as quickly as possible. I think from a tech perspective, making that simple. Also on the CX side, listening, being there, having that human interaction is obviously massive. So yeah, Nancy, hand raise.
So sorry for everyone who's still here listening to us yap, but Cody forgot the biggest thing as well about that omnichannel experience. Oftentimes, there are going to be people who actually reach out to Corso when they shouldn't be reaching out to Corso about anything. It is 100% a Caraway issue. And instead of them just kind of like throwing the customer out, telling them to email us, they'll Slack us directly like, hey, this is going on. How should we solve this so we can keep it on one channel? That's amazing. Sorry, Cody. Had to add that in.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, sorry for complimenting us. Keep them coming.
Oh, we love it. No, this has been fun. I think we went over like 15 minutes, but
yeah, shouts.
Super excited for everybody I'm just pumped. I can't say anything else, but I want to give a shout out to Caitlin, Fran, from our partners, Gladly, ShipBob, fantastic companies, fantastic teams. And we're super grateful to have deep integrations there and be able to just make life easy for both Nancy, Ashley, everyone in the Shopify and beyond ecosystems. And then, we just got to give a shout out to Ashley and Nancy. They are some of the best in the game. And I think you can see it just with obviously the delighted customers on the Caraway side. The product's fantastic. And we're really grateful for the nuggets that you shared with us today. I think just as closing this out, we've got this video. We're going to be able to distribute it. We'll put it up on YouTube, and you can reach out directly to us to get a copy of it and the deck. If you want some of the calendars, some of those tips and tricks, by all means, just hit us up directly. Paul@corso.com. That's my email. You can email me directly and definitely connect with everybody on LinkedIn here and hit them up if you have any questions. But again, appreciate it. We hope this was valuable heading into BFCM, and we hope everyone crushes it on their sales, as well as taking care of those customers with integrated tech stacks and just delighting those customers through BFCM. Appreciate the time, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. We'll catch you later.